Welcome back, everybody. Today I am back in my 2025 EcoBoost Premium Mustang, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take y'all for a little bit of a joyride, and I'm going to talk about whether or not I regret buying the EcoBoost over the GT Mustang, and I'm going to let you guys know my exact reasoning. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, but let's flip around and get on the road. All right, we are in first person. Let me go ahead and turn this thing off actually, and we'll start it up from scratch here. And I just discovered a new feature on this car that I didn't even know you could play around with. So there we go, we're started up from scratch. So if I press this, it's fuel economy, still under 20 miles a gallon, but I idle a lot, drive a lot of city traffic, so hopefully you guys can see that. But it's not really the car's fault that I'm not really getting great gas mileage. It's kind of my own fault. I do drive this thing a little bit hard because it's brand new. Let me see. So we got gauge detail, and I just discovered this right here, the cylinder head temp, engine oil temp, and transmission oil temp. And then you also got some stuff down below that. I don't know exactly what that means. Vacuum boost. You guys let me know what some of this stuff means. I am still a little bit new to this, and I am still figuring things out. All right, let's go ahead. Now that I showed you guys that, I'm going to leave it on this gauge detail so you guys can see my engine oil temp is at 190. I already drove it a little bit this morning, so it's not technically completely cold right now. What I will do in the near future is do a video for you guys after I let it rest and start it up completely from being cold. But today we're going to start at 190. The engine oil temp, the cylinder head temp is going to be 197. And I'm just going to let you guys know right now, if you own a GT Mustang, try not to be so sensitive. All right, I've been making these videos, and the guys with the GT Mustangs out there are really sensitive for whatever reason, so just relax a little bit. All right, here's what we're going to do. We are going to turn around and get away from that that oil truck or whatever the heck is coming in here. So the reason I want to make this video is because I was really torn when I was looking to buy, because obviously you got a lot of guys that are like, oh, the EcoBoost is not a real Mustang and everything, you got to get the GT. But what a lot of people just don't understand is that the EcoBoost is a really good car, and what a lot of people just don't get is that this 2.3 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine is putting out more power than the 2010 GT and previous year Mustangs did, the previous year GT Mustangs to be specific. So you're getting more power out of this with a lighter engine. So this thing is actually a little bit quicker. It wasn't until 2011 and beyond that the GT Mustang actually started going over 400 horsepower, but in 2010 that thing put out the same amount of horsepower as this car and actually less torque, which makes it a little bit slower than this thing with the 2.3 liter. And obviously this thing has a turbocharger on it, so my biggest concern is going to be whether or not this thing lasts in the long term or not. If you guys have been following me though, I'm going to keep the oil really fresh in this. As soon as I hit 2,000 miles, I bought full synthetic oil and the best oil filter that I could possibly find for this thing. If you guys want to check out that video, I'll leave a link up top and down below so you guys can check that one out. But I'm not really too worried about how long the turbocharger is gonna, I mean, obviously I want the turbocharger to last, right? Or actually I'm gonna hop over here and do this. Obviously I want the turbocharger to last. I don't want it to go out. But if it does go out at some point, I'll just swap up to a bigger turbo. I'll probably get like a better intercooler and stuff, and I'll get a bigger, beefier turbo with a little bit better response than the factory one on this. Just right now, I'm not really planning to mod this car because I bought this thing brand new and it's still under full factory warranty. So I don't want to start messing with things, have problems, and then it voids the warranty. And this is my daily driver. If this was just my joyrider, yeah, I'd go ahead probably mod it a little bit, and I would probably mod it if I buy a used Mustang. But to buy brand new, I really wanted the factory feeling. That's a big reason why I bought brand new, was because if you buy used, you end up getting a lot of guys third party aftermarket weird stuff that you just don't really want to have. I always have a cop around me when I'm trying to make these videos. I don't know what the deal is. I'm not doing nothing wrong, but it makes me a little nervous, like I am doing something wrong. But so I'm not really planning to mod this car. So a lot of people complain, oh, the turbo might go out and stuff. Yeah, that's true. That's kind of a risk you're taking buying this. But for me, I bought it brand new. So it's got full powertrain warranty for 5 years, 60,000 miles. So that's another reason why I decided to buy this thing brand new and not used, because if you buy it used, you're talking about only getting a few years of powertrain warranty. You don't know how somebody maintained it. You know, most people just don't maintain their cars very well, and you just don't know what the deal is going to be. And if you buy more than 5 years old, over 60,000 miles, you get absolutely no factory warranty. So that's a big reason why I wanted to buy brand new, because this thing is my daily main driver, and I just wanted to be covered if anything goes wrong with it. But overall, I have really enjoyed this car so far. And like I said at the beginning, I was torn. Should I get the EcoBoost? Should I get the GT Mustang? I went out, I didn't even test drive a GT, because I just went out, I test drove one of these, the base model. Actually, it wasn't exactly this one. I started by looking at the base models, and you could get them under 30,000. I had a deal on paper for 29,000 for a brand new base model Mustang. This exact same color and everything, just cloth seats, no remote start, you know, no power seats or anything like that. So it was really base, but still touch screen and everything, still nice. Not a bad car, but I really pushed for the premium here. But I test drove that thing and I was like, man, people are really beating up on this thing, because like I always say, I used to be a hater. I used to say, oh man, the 4-cylinder Mustang is lame. Let's give it some gas here. But you guys can see this thing is not lame. Like, this thing is so much fun. It's got some power, it's got some speed, and you can get good gas mileage with it. Like, why not get a car that's powerful, that's cool sports car with some power? I think there's also another black one coming up right here, if you guys can see that right there. It's a black EcoBoost S650, just like mine. Pretty funny. All right, let's get on the road here, up on the highway. So this thing is not lame at all. When I first heard they were coming out with the 4-cylinder Mustang, I was a hater, man. I was like, that ain't gonna be cool. It's gonna be lame, it's gonna be slow. I honestly thought they were just doing it to kind of make the EPA happy, and that's obviously part of the reason, but I think all the engineering that goes into this car is awesome, with the dual injection, direct injection and port injection system that this car has on it. It really gives it some amazing power, and the turbocharger, I love the turbo noise. Right now, if we get on a normal road, I'll probably roll down the window so you guys can try and hear it. It's kind of hard with the GoPro, but I'll do the best I can. On the highway, it's kind of hard to hear it if I roll down the windows, but you can hear it a little bit better in person than you really can on the GoPro here. But I've really enjoyed the turbo. I really like the engine on this. The 2.3 liter, I really have no problems with it. It is a little bit larger of a 4-cylinder. Most cars nowadays are coming with like 2-liter 4-cylinders. Some are even pushing it as far as 1.5, 1.6 4-cylinder engines, which I'm not personally a big fan of. Once you hit under 2 liters, it kind of takes a lot of power away from the engine. But this one is a little bit beefier as far as 4-cylinders go. I know it's a 2.3 liter, so I can't build it up that much, but I've really enjoyed the engine on this thing. It really puts out some great power, and I got no problems with it so far. And today I'm going to be taking you guys up this bridge right here. This is a brand new bridge in San Antonio, and I love this thing. I love driving my car on this bridge, man, with this view. It is amazing. But going back to the core subject, I keep getting off the whole point of this video, but I was torn between the EcoBoost and the GT. I was like, maybe I should push up to the GT, but I went and drove one of these things and I was really happy with it. I really enjoyed it, and why am I going to spend $10,000, $15,000 more just so I can go around and brag I have a V8? I mean, and I'm not saying anything bad about the GT Mustang. I think the GT Mustang is absolutely an incredible car. I'm not saying anything negative, just at the end of the day, for me personally, I did not think that an 8-cylinder V8 was worth it for me. I've driven a V8 daily before. I used to drive around in an old F-150. It cost a lot in gas, more oil, just more maintenance and stuff on that thing. And I just didn't want to have to deal with it anymore. Like, instead of having to swap out 4 coils and 4 spark plugs, you have to do all 8. And on a V8, that can be a lot of work, man. I did it on my truck before, on my old 2007 5.4 Triton F-150, man. Absolutely love that truck. I still have that thing and drive it. It's older now though, so I try not to drive it a lot. And I love the V8 in that thing. But daily driving a V8 is quite annoying. And it requires more maintenance because you have 4 more cylinders and it's just a lot more to deal with, and I didn't want to have to spend the money on the gas. And you guys make fun and say, oh, you can't afford it and everything. It's not even about affording it to me. You're talking about $10,000–$15,000 more for the car right off the bat on something that's devaluing, something that's losing value, I mean to say. And you have to pay more for gas. So by the time you're said and done, you're 5 years in, you've spent what, let's say $10,000 more on gas, and maybe $10,000–$15,000 more maybe if you get the premium GT over the base GT. And it's just not, it just wasn't worth it to me. Like, I got this thing for $36,300. This is the premium EcoBoost, brand new. The leather seats, fully loaded, Ford Co-Pilot Assist Plus, and everything you guys can really think of in this car. I mean, it's got the whole package. So I was like, let me get this straight. You want me to upgrade to a base GT, lose all the remote start, the leather seats and everything, and pay $10,000 more just for the luxury of having the 5.0. And don't get me wrong, again, I love the 5.0, but why not take that $10,000 and put it in the stock market? I mean, it just didn't make any sense to me. I was like, I'm already paying $36,000. I can go pay $46,000 to get a GT, but it's just, is it really worth it? And at the end of the day, I decided it is just not worth the expense. If you guys pull the trigger on a GT, I'm happy for you. I'm not telling you to get the EcoBoost over the GT. I'm saying it comes down to personal preference and what you guys want, and you should feel good about whatever you decide. Don't let other losers peer pressure you into getting the 5.0 or saying, ooh, the EcoBoost is not a real Mustang. They're both Mustangs. They're both awesome cars. I'm just telling you guys the reason I bought this thing, because I could get so much more features for less money than the GT, could save a little bit on gas and also save a little bit on insurance as well. And it just came down to it just not being worth it for me to have to upgrade and spend so much extra money. Like I always say, and I've been saying this for a while, if this is going to be your main daily driver, you're going to be driving this to work and back home, you're just going to be normal driving this thing, I recommend getting the EcoBoost Mustang, because it's going to save you a lot of money up front. You're going to get a little better gas mileage, and you're still going to get exceptional power and an amazing experience for less money. But if you guys already have a daily driver, like you got a little car that you drive around your family in, and you want a joyrider and you have the money, I would definitely go and pick up the GT Mustang, because if it's not your daily driver, I'm not super worried about gas mileage and all that nonsense and stuff. But if you're just going to be driving this thing on the street like I normally do, I'm not taking this thing to the track, I'm not trying to, you know, go do anything crazy, this thing is plenty for me. It's got plenty of power. You're talking 315 horsepower, which is not the fastest car in the world, but that's extremely good power out of a car. A normal sedan would probably have with a 2-liter naturally aspirated engine, probably around 150 horsepower. So you're getting more than twice the power that you get in a normal car. So when you put that behind the wheel of this and you go test drive it, it is a noticeable difference, and it's just great overall, an exceptional experience. Again, biggest concern and biggest problem with this thing is going to be they're pumping a lot of power out of a smaller 2.3 liter engine, right? And as far as 4 cylinders go, that's a pretty good sized engine, but they're still pumping a lot of power out of it with the turbocharger and everything. So you have to wonder how long this powertrain, specifically the engine and the turbocharger, is gonna last. So that's kind of why I'm trying to make all these videos for you guys, because what I'm personally gonna do is I'm gonna maintain this thing exceptionally well and see how long it lasts for me. See when the turbocharger goes out, if it does go out. See when I have engine problems with really good maintenance. Because I think a lot of people say, oh, it's not gonna last, but most people just don't maintain their cars that well. And you get some people that don't even bother to do the oil changes. It's like, you know, lazy, every 10,000 miles type thing. And then you get some people that they do the oil changes, you know, okay, 5,000 to 6,000 miles, which is a little bit long for my taste, to be honest, but still okay intervals there. And then they don't change the coolant. They never change the transmission fluid or anything. So, I mean, a car is just not going to last even with that. You got to swap the coolant after probably about 50,000 miles. You got to get the transmission fluid refreshed. I wouldn't flush it, but just drained and refilled at about 50,000 miles at the absolute latest, if you really want a car to last. I mean, if you just don't care about it lasting, just do your normal oil changes every 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 miles, full synthetic, and you'll get 100,000 miles out of a car. But it really is just going to come down to maintenance. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to maintain this thing really well and see how long it lasts and see what kind of problems I have, if any. I mean, if I push this thing, let's say 200,000 miles and the turbo goes out after really good maintenance, I mean, I can live with that, like 200,000 miles. But some people are complaining it only goes 70,000. Some people say 100,000, but I feel like it really is dependent on the level of maintenance and how well you take care of this thing and your driving habits and stuff. And me, I drive this thing pretty rough, so that's why I'm changing the oil a lot more as well. Like I said, first oil change was 2,000 miles, but that's really the reason I decided to buy the EcoBoost over the GT. Was I just didn't feel the need to get a GT. I really don't feel the need, and especially with it being my daily driver, I just thought this car was great. I got behind the wheel and I absolutely love this darn thing. I have no problems with it, and I thought I was gonna have some buyer remorse, because I was like, man, if I buy this thing, am I gonna regret not getting the 5.0? Like, in the back of my mind, am I gonna be like, man, you know what, I should have just pulled the trigger for the extra money and got the 5.0. But honestly, I don't really regret it. And all of the hate that I've been getting from guys with GT Mustangs, or, you know, Dodge Challengers with whatever V8, whatever Hellcat, or whatever it is, SRT, I don't even remember the name of those Dodges anymore because they don't even make them anymore. But the more hate I get, the more I feel even better about getting an EcoBoost, because I almost don't want to be part of that loser club that just wants to hate on everybody that doesn't drive a V8 engine or doesn't drive around a V8 sports car. You know, I don't even really want to be part of that group. And some of you guys out there have a GT Mustang and you don't cause any problems, you don't talk any smack or anything. But some of you guys, man, y'all are so sensitive. So just getting so much hate from people really makes me feel good about getting the EcoBoost. It's actually having the reverse effect, because it makes me feel justified getting this thing. Because if this thing gets so much hate, it must actually be a great car, in my mind. You guys let me know if that makes sense down below in the comments. But if this wasn't a great car that rivaled the GT Mustang, it wouldn't get so much hate in my mind. But that's just my line of thought there. Let's go ahead and flip it around, and I'm gonna try and roll down the windows for you guys, see if we can hear that turbo kick in. I really enjoy the turbo though, and again, it's just a factory turbo. I haven't touched the exhaust. I have not done anything to this car except get paint protection film, which obviously is not gonna affect the performance. All right, so enough me lecturing everybody. Let's get this back on the road. Here we go, windows down. We got nobody. And I will shut up so you guys can listen to the turbo here. Gonna slow down and we're gonna speed up because I ain't breaking any traffic laws. I ain't getting myself in trouble. All right, here we go. Let's slow down a little more. Is nobody behind me? So again, I don't know how well you guys are gonna be able to hear that on the GoPro, but in person, I love the sound of it. It's got a little bit of that engine noise. I love the turbo squealing. Sounds really cool to me. And for me personally, I don't need my engine, I don't need my car to be super loud because I like to hear myself think as I'm driving down the road. So do with that what you will. Some of you guys like your cars really loud, but me, I'm just like, I like the stock noise, I like the stock engine and turbo sound on this car, and I'm not personally gonna mess with it. You guys can do that if you want, but I like to just enjoy laid back driving sometimes without my car having to be so loud. And you can get the active exhaust system on this car. I really like the active exhaust system, just this one didn't happen to come with it, and I got such an amazing deal. I just didn't care about the active exhaust, to be honest. This one came with upgraded rims, Ford Co-Pilot Assist Plus, and that was more important to me than having the active exhaust. But I did test drive an EcoBoost in this exact color with the active exhaust, and it was pretty cool. So if you guys can find a good deal on one of those, maybe think about that. But that is really going to be it for today's video. At the end of the day, I just decided that buying the GT Mustang was not worth it to me personally. If you guys think it's worth it to you and you guys can afford it and you're not putting your finances in jeopardy getting a GT Mustang, go for it. Like, if that's what you want, it's an awesome car. I love the 5.0, but I also love this one. They can both be great cars. They don't have to be compared, and EcoBoost owners don't have to talk smack about GT owners, and GT owners don't need to talk smack about EcoBoost owners. I just don't understand what the big competition is. If you have the 5.0, cool. If you have the EcoBoost, also cool. They are both great cars. They're both awesome. I have no complaints about this thing. I have really enjoyed my driving experience with this car so far. All right, we're gonna end this video back on the road. I was gonna end it in this parking lot, but we're not gonna do that. We are gonna get on the road. Get on the road and end this video. But you guys let me know what your thoughts are down below. Let me know if my reasoning is dumb to you. Maybe you just disagree. Maybe you're like, no, get the GT. Maybe you're like, nah, I don't really see the big point of getting a GT. EcoBoost is fine. Maybe you like both of them. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. Just wasn't worth it for me to push up and get the GT. I really enjoy this one, and I'm happy with my decision, and I don't have any regrets. Like, if I had to go back and do it all over again, I would go back and I would get this exact same car without hesitation, because it's awesome and I love it. Oh man, I love that turbo and engine noise. That's not even me flooring it, by the way, guys. That's like 40% down on the pedal, but you got to be careful because you can lose traction in this. So just be careful with yourself. But that is going to be it for today's video. You guys let me know what you think down below in the comments. If you think I'm full of garbage, or if you sort of agree with me, also go down in the comments. I will see you guys in another video. Thanks for watching.